Alrighty guys, sorry for the late start. Obviously issues with electronics as usual. Anyway, welcome. My name is Julie Brown. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm so happy that you're here tonight. For those of you that have never been to my channel or have never watched me, what I do is I pick out one of the suite of products from Stampin' Up! And I create cards every Wednesday night. And hopefully you can follow along whether you have the suite or not. You can use the designer series paper that you have at home or your own stamp sets. I do on my Facebook page try to put up the cuts and what you might need for the night. So that's a good place. My Facebook business page is a good place to go and check out those cuts ahead of time so that you can see what is coming. So tonight we are going to be working with the Kintsugi Inspirations suite. And it comes with the designer series paper that you see here. It comes with a stamp set and a die set, an embossing folder, and these beautiful gems. So the bundle, which is the stamp set and the dies, that's the number for that. And I put this up just in case you guys might want to get any of the products that you guys see tonight. But it is not a requirement that you buy anything at all. So let me get all this out of the way. I'm just going to put up real quick housekeeping information. So if you do decide you'd like to order from me, I would love that if you don't already have a demonstrator, and you can do that at juliebrown.stampinup.net. There's my email address, all of my Pinterest information, my YouTube channel. So you're either watching me on Facebook or YouTube. And then also there's my blog. Also, if you are new, you can type in the comments, let me know you're here. And if you have any questions, you can also type that into the comments as well. Alrighty, so let's get this out of the way. And then I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. We're going to be using a lot of this stuff. Now, there are two other products that I brought in tonight to help with making this card. And that is the Right Words stamp set and the Spotlight on Nature dies. So these are the Right Words is this. You guys know I like sentiment stamp sets, so I always fall back onto this sentiment stamp set. I absolutely love it. And then the Spotlight in Nature, again, one of my favorite dies. So I am going to have to cut a couple of the pieces right off the bat that I didn't want to cut ahead of time because I wanted you to be able to see all of this beautiful paper. So let's go through the paper really quick. So there's obviously double-sided front and back. So this is week 1 of me showing this suite. So usually on week 1, I'm going to show you all of the designer series paper. The rest of this month, I'm just going to be doing the cards. So if you want to see a full view of the suite, you're going to have to always come back to week 1. So this is the front and this is the back of this design. And then we have the front here and the back of this one. This is one of the ones I'm going to be using tonight. And then this one is, I don't know if you guys can see the design that's on there, but there's that. And then it has these beautiful vases, which we do have dies to cut that out. And then look how pretty this one is with that gold throughout. Such pretty paper. And then here's the back of that one. And then we have this one here. And this is actually where it got its name. Kintsugi is basically the art of, what they did was like they broke plates or ceramics and then they glued them all back together. So that's what this is. And then there's the back of that. And then here's this design. And then that's the back of that design, which also has a design on it. Okay, so now that we've looked at all the paper, I am going to walk you through what I already have cut out that you're going to need tonight. And then we'll cut these pieces. So I'm starting with a basic beige. Again, if you guys aren't using this product of suites, then you're definitely going to want to pick colors that match your designer series paper. So obviously our card base is the normal 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. And then for the inside of your card, You're going to need a mat that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then you're going to need the one that you're going to be stamping on, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Again, matching up colors to what you have. You're also going to need a mat for the front designer series paper that we're going to be putting on this, and this is 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then you'll need a piece of gold foil that is 3 by 5 1/4. And then you're going to need these 2 tiny little strips, and I believe this is like 3/8 by what was it, 3/8 by 2 1/4, and this is a 1/2 by 2 1/4. Okay, so let's get started since we do have some cutting to do. I think we're actually going to do the die cutting first and then the stamping later, since I have to show you how I do this when we have paper like this where you can die cut out. So I'm looking for specific ones. So I want this one and this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my paper snips, and I'm actually going to just kind of cut around a few things here, just so that I can get this into my die cut machine. And then I'm going to come up here, and I am really careful not to cut into any of the other designs, you know, just in case I want it, because it'll cut out these flowers too. So I'm always very careful not to cut out the other designs. So there's that. And we'll die cut that in a second. I'm going to set that along with our gold piece over by my die cut machine, and we'll pop in over there in just a hot second. But first I'm going to bring this piece in because I need this piece cut 2 by 5 1/4. Alrighty, so we're going to come in 2 inches. Cut that. Set that to the side, and then we're going to turn it and cut it at 5 1/4. Alrighty, so that was the designer series paper that I needed. So let's get this out of the way. So now let's pop on over to the die cut station, and what we're going to do is first we're going to be cutting on this. And we're going to be using plate 1, plate 2, and then one of my 3s. And I apologize for the rough look of my plates, but because I do use them in classes, my plates get looking like this fairly quickly. But they last forever, so you don't ever have to worry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of stand up for this. But and I probably need some fresh. As most of you know, I just took a huge road trip with my grandchildren to Ohio, and we had a great time. We stopped in Nauvoo, Illinois to see all the sights there. That's where my granddaughter is serving a mission, and so we stopped to see her. Now, I do want to point out we're going to have to cut this separately, because if you'll notice when I try to put this on here, actually we might be okay. Sometimes they have these too close to each other and you can't cut them both out at the same time, but it looks like we're going to be able to this time. Anyway, so we got to stop and see that, and then I was at a convention for I also do Tula 12 planners. They're customizable, and so I was actually there for a convention for that to learn more about that product. So that was what inspired our road trip, was needing to do that, and I have family in Ohio, so trip served as double duty for sure. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put our gold foil piece in here, and we're going to take the 2 people that get this confused all the time. I'll have like this one up here, and then they don't see the size that I'm telling them, and so they don't think it's there. But this actually has 2. Now this magnetic that you see, your dies don't come this way, but I always buy these. They're called vent covers from like Lowe's or Home Depot, and then I cut them down to fit. so that then I have a magnetic, I have this magnetized. All right, so that's gonna fit there. Now let's run this through. Hopefully that was not my head getting in your way. And this card is actually gonna go together pretty quick. I love this one because it's another kind of quick and easy card. But we're just using, you know, this beautiful paper and this beautiful set. I really fell in love with this set once I got it. It is just so beautiful. The paper's just beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna lay some stuff back over on the card making section, and then we're gonna pop back over there. And I seem to be, I don't know where my take your pick tool is. Yay! It's all right, I'll bring in some tweezers. So these little holes that you see in these dies are basically put there to help you get what you've just cut out. So you just kind of poke into that hole, and then these come out pretty easily. Okie doke. All right, let me put that back so I don't lose that. Okay, so here's all of our pieces that we just cut out. That's the one thing about when Stampin' Up! Designs that designer series paper, where the dies cut it out of the paper, makes it 10 times easier. Now, for those of you that are at home and you guys don't have that ability, then you'll be stamping your image that you've picked to put on this and die cut it out. Okay? All right. Oops, let me put that die back. All right, so let's do our stamping. We don't have much stamping to do today, but I am going to be using crumb cake to stamp with. And the first thing that I'm going to do is bring in that flower, and this is the mat that goes on the inside. So depending on what stamp set you guys are using, you're just going to pick an image from that stamp set, and you're going to stamp it down here in the right hand corner, just like that. Okay? And you know what? I did not bring any of my chamois over here, so wait a minute, I think I see one. That's what happens when you go on vacation, guys. It's like you come back and you're kind of out of sorts. All right. Okay, so then the next thing that we're going to do is, this is where I brought in the sentiment stamp. I needed to do a sympathy card. And so this is from the Right Word stamp set. And it says, hoping the loss you feel right now will be eased by wonderful memories. So we're going to ink that up. And you guys know I'm always telling you, tap, tap, tap. Okay. Then I'm going to stand up to do this, just so that I can see what I'm doing. I normally don't stand up like when I'm stamping and creating, but for some reason, when the lights are on, I get a really bad glare off of my blocks, and I can't always see very clear. So that's why I always stand up. Okay, then the next one we're going to do is from the set, and it's the one that says, I'm here for you. Give me a hot second to find it. And it's this one. So then we're going to bring in that little strip, and we're going to try to put this pretty much right in the middle. And I'm using the grids on my glass plate to basically make it so that it's straight to begin with. And I am going to stamp this right in the middle because there's going to be part of this that goes underneath something, and then I want to be able to put something over here. All right, so that's all the stamping there is to this card tonight. Alrighty, and then I did have this set up so that the cuts were in the description, but again, because I had issues, I had to come into this a little different way. So I will make sure that I get those added as soon as I get finished here. I'll go in and add those card cuts for you. So what I was doing was, when this cut, it left a little bit of a ragged edge, and so I just came in with a emery board, and that's how you can kind of smooth that down so that you have these nice smooth edges. Now we're going to come in with this piece, and you figure out how you want it to look. And we're going to stick that on. Oh, we do have to do one more thing. I almost forgot. We're going to be back at the, not die cutting, but we're going to be embossing. So then we're just going to center this onto this sheet like so. And then let's go ahead and take this and we're going to burnish this edge. I do have my bone folder here, thank goodness. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, let's go back over to the die cutting station and let me show you what we're going to do, because now we're going to use the embossing folder, and I want to just emboss the front of the card base. So this part right here. So what I'm going to do is, this is where it can be a little bit tricky, because it's really important that you put this in with the folded edge first. So I kind of struggled with this, trying to figure out how to do this, and then I just decided that I could just kind of slide this in like so. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Hopefully. I'm going to just slide this in like so. I'm going to push it as far as I can up in there, and then fold that shut. Now you see that this isn't going to get this whole edge. Well, I'm not worried about it for this card, because I'm going to be putting something to cover that. So I wasn't too concerned about that. All right, so let's move those. So we need plate 1. Then this is a 3D folder. So we need plate 1. We need our folder with our paper. And hopefully that didn't move. And then we need this plate 4. And then we're going to roll that through. And pull this out, and I'll show you. I'll come back over to the stamp station and we will show you. Look at that embossing folder. Isn't it beautiful? So, so pretty. So, so pretty. Hopefully I'm live, guys, because I'm not seeing any comments. So hopefully I am live, and it's live where I wanted it to be. We will see later. I had to set a different time, so I'm hoping that I am actually live, or, you know, it may wait until 6:30, because for some reason the new thing that Switcher Studio is doing is making me set a time, which it never did before. So I've got to do some research on my end and see why it's making me do that. So basically we're just going to attach those 2 pieces there. Now let's go ahead and get our inside pieces done. Now don't forget, guys, this is a free class that I do every Wednesday, but a lot of you guys want me to send you all these pieces and parts. You want the card kit, and besides the stamping, like for this kit, you would get all of this stuff already cut out. But so I will be demonstrating 4 cards this month with this suite. And if you make a $40 purchase, you will get those 4 card kits with a PDF, a downloadable PDF instructions. And but if you buy this suite, or if you already have this suite, you buy another suite through me, then you will get all 8 card kits. And the last week I show you all of the cards that I designed with this. Now I'm only demonstrating 4 of them, but you will get the PDF instructions for all 8 of those card kits. Okay, and again, I will get the link put up, because this gave me so much trouble tonight. I don't even know if the links got where they were supposed to be. Oops, I forgot one thing. I was talking and I wasn't paying attention. This is why you guys notice I don't press anything down super hard. Now, it probably would have been the smartest thing for me to do was to use our adhesive sheets on the back of this, because then it makes it sticky, but didn't think that far ahead. So we're going to do this one first. And so I'm just going to hit some glue right on the bigger parts and on these end parts, just to make sure it holds in place. Then I'm going to flip this around, and this is actually going to sit over here, because it's going to go, oh, that's right, that's why I didn't do that, because it's all based on this piece. So this is the piece I'm using kind of as my guide. Then what I did was I took this other branch and I cut it apart right here. And then what I'm going to do is, again, I don't have this big round gold piece down because I'm doing what I call dry runs. So this piece I'm going to stick right there. And then this other piece, I'm going to bring it in. Whoops. So for those of you, if you guys got on my Facebook, you guys saw that you were going to need something that you had branches. So let's say you guys don't have gold foil. That's fine. Let's say you guys don't have this set. That's fine. Just find something with a branch. Find a circle, cut out the circle, and then you're going to stamp and cut out the image that you want as your centerpiece here. Now I'm going to take this piece, and again, we're going to just add some liquid glue here. And we're going to lay this down like so. And I try not to touch that center foil too much because it does pick up like thumbprints and stuff. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to attach it to the little mat that goes with it. So here we go. So I apologize if you guys are typing in comments. I am not seeing comments tonight. Again, as soon as I hit go tonight, it said my perimeters weren't matching. And of course I was like, of course, of course they're not. Because that just always seems to be what happens when lately when I go live. So I do apologize if you guys are typing in questions. I will look later and see if I can answer any of the questions for you. So here we go there. And we're going to lay that down just like so. All right, then we're going to come in with the large vase. And again, I am using a suite of products, and that's why everything coordinates really well. One of my favorite things about Stampin' Up, guys, is I love that they take kind of the guesswork out of matching up colors and stuff, because when you get your paper, it tells you all of the colors that are used with it, and it makes it really easy. But I do go outside the box. The card I'm doing next week is going to be so outside the box with this set. So I hope you will join me because it's going to be pretty exciting. And it's going to be something that I don't think you guys thought about. So this one's going to go here. And then we're going to bring in one of our little gems. Even starting late, I'm going to be done pretty quick tonight, which was my goal. And because I can't find my take your pick tool, I'll just use my tweezers. And then we're just going to put one of these, and I'm going to bring this closer. These are called flower accents, and they are so absolutely beautiful. Can you guys see the detail in that? How pretty that is? So pretty. All right, guys, and the card is done. And this is what happens when you use designer series paper. If you have designer series paper like this one where you could just die cut it out, not a lot of stamping tonight, right? But tomorrow I will be doing stamping. And then, you know, I included that embossing folder, and look how pretty that made that. So I'm in love with this card. I'm in love with this suite. I love the paper in this suite. And then the inside just says, hoping the loss you feel right now will be eased by wonderful memories. And then the little flower down here. Alrighty, so that's all there was to tonight. Again, this is the suite that I'm using. If you guys do decide to purchase that, you will get all of the card cut pieces for all of the cards that I will be doing for the month of August sent to you so that you can, along with PDF instructions. And then if you want to just buy the bundle, it's $42.25. So you could just get the stamp set and the dies. And if you do that, then you're going to get the four card kits from the cards I'm going to be doing the whole month of August. All right, guys. So thanks for being here with me tonight. If you were here, again, I don't know if anyone got caught up with me because of the mess up in the, the whole recording and everything. So hopefully this worked. If it didn't show on my Facebook or my YouTube, I will be uploading it as soon as I'm done here. And then be watching for the links and the card cuts. It is on my Facebook page. I do know that. But the video probably showed somewhere else. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Hope you guys all have a great evening. And I can't wait to see you next week. You guys really need to join me next week because I'm showing you a really unique card made with this suite. So hopefully you guys will all join me. So it'll be next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time in the U.S. Talk to you soon.